It is 5000 BC. You have never touched a dumbbell. You have never taken protein powder. You have never followed a workout plan, counted a rep, or stepped inside a gym. And somehow, your body is more mobile, more durable, and more useful in the real world than almost anyone alive today. You do not train, you survive. Every squat, every climb, every carry, every hunt, every mile across rough ground is building you without you even knowing it. So how did ancient humans build bodies like that, with no equipment, no plan, and no idea they were even working out? The answer is that they had a gym. They just never knew it, because it was simply their life. It started the moment they woke up. There was no bed and no chair, so a person rested and sat in a deep squat, feet flat, hips folded all the way down. They dropped into that position dozens of times a day without a thought. That single pose, the one many people today cannot hold for even 10 seconds without their heels lifting, quietly kept their hips, knees, and ankles strong and mobile for an entire lifetime. And then they moved. This is the part that matters most. From sunrise to dark, an ancient human barely stopped moving. They walked, and they did not stop. Not on a machine going nowhere, but across real ground, for real reasons. Miles of it, every single day, chasing food, finding water, following the herd, searching for better shelter. Their legs were never trained. They were simply used, constantly, for years and years. And they carried. This is what truly built them. Everything a person owned, everything they ate, everything they needed, moved because their own arms moved it. A hunter heaved a fallen animal across his shoulders and carried it home over rough ground. People hauled water, they dragged firewood, they lifted heavy stones, not for sets, but because the stones were in the way. There was no cart. There was no wheel yet. There was no one else to help. So the back, the grip, and the core were shaped by a simple fact. If you were too weak to move it, it did not get moved. They climbed too. Up trees for fruit, up rocks for safety, up high ground to see what was coming. Their hands grew rough and powerful. Their bare feet, gripping every root and ledge, became far more adapted to the ground than the soft padded feet hidden inside modern shoes. And when they hunted, they threw. Spears and rocks, the entire body uncoiling behind each launch, thousands upon thousands of times across a lifetime. It gave the shoulders and core an explosive, twisting power that many modern machines do not train very well. Now here's the one thing that ties all of it together. They never chose any of it. There was no motivation, no goal weight, no resolution to break by February. Every muscle on an ancient human's body, every ounce of that strength, was built by one thing and one thing only: staying alive. And that kind of strength looked different from modern gym strength. It was not built to look perfect under good lighting. It was not built for one heavy lift, one clean rep, or one muscle standing out in a mirror. It was built to work when the body was tired, hungry, scratched, sunburned, and still had miles left to go. An ancient human did not need the biggest chest in the group. He needed legs that did not quit, hands that did not let go, a back that could carry awkward weight, hips that could drop, rise, twist, and climb without breaking down. Their bodies were not shaped by aesthetics. They were shaped by usefulness. Every part had a job. And the strangest part is that they were not trying to recover from movement. Movement was the default. Today, most people sit for 10 hours, then try to repair the damage with 1 hour in the gym. Ancient humans had the opposite life. Their bodies were never switched off long enough to become stiff in the first place. Their muscles were loaded lightly, heavily, quickly, slowly, and awkwardly, again and again. So fitness was not something added on top of life. Fitness was the side effect of living, and that is the first secret. But it is not the biggest one, because staying alive did not just mean the morning. It meant a full day that rarely let the body rest for long. And this is where it became relentless. By midday, a hunter was on the move again. He might follow tracks across open ground for hours, refusing to let a wounded animal slip out of sight. He did not sprint after it. He simply never stopped. He walked, he jogged, he climbed a ridge to spot it, he dropped down the other side, and he kept going. because outlasting things was one of the things the human body was built to do. When the animal finally went down, the real work only began. Now it had to get home, so a person hoisted a heavy load onto his shoulders and started the long walk back, over the same rough ground, in the same heat, carrying dinner for the whole group on his spine. And reaching camp brought no real rest. There was wood to gather and break. There was shelter to build, dragging branches, hauling stones. There were hides to scrape and stretch. There were roots to dig out of hard ground, children to lift and swing and chase. Not one of these things was a workout. Every one of them was just the next thing that had to be done. And notice this: no two of those tasks were ever the same. That was the real secret. It rarely stopped, and it rarely repeated. From the moment an ancient human woke to the moment they dropped by the fire, they were moving. Not violently, not for a single intense hour, just constantly, in 100 different ways, the way a body is actually built to move. And it did not begin in adulthood. It began the day a child could crawl. Ancient children did not grow up sitting still the way many modern children do. They climbed, ran, wrestled, carried, fell, and got back up, from sunrise to dark, every single day. So picture that ancient human standing by the fire at the end of the day. He had never counted a rep. He had never followed a plan. He had no idea a single one of his muscles even had a name. And his bones, if you dug them up right now and laid them beside the average modern person's, would often show the marks of a harder, more physically demanding life. He did not earn any of it on purpose. He earned it by living a life that rarely allowed him to be still. So how did ancient humans stay in shape without a gym? They never had to try. Their entire world did the work for them. They never trained a single day in their lives, and they might not beat a modern specialist in their own sport. But in a full day of walking, carrying, climbing, digging, throwing, and surviving, most of us would be finished long before they were.